chances are people are getting calls if they are on margin. If they've borrowed money to buy stocks, they may be getting calls, or they are anticipating a call and they're starting to sell.
That's the older way to think about it. Well, I actually am a little more worried about just larger investors who have a lot of implicit leverage in whatever they're holding, and they hold multiple asset classes, and it's basically premised on volatility staying low. And if volatility goes up, that means the risk level of my portfolio goes up. I have to sell something to bring the risk level back down. That's probably some of what's happening right here. It's an overshoot to the look. We overshot to the upside, as everybody was talking about, and this is clearly, at least on a short-term basis, an overshoot to the downside.
Do you remember the last time we were down? We're almost down 6% on the market in one. Do you remember a move like we probably have to go back to the financial crisis? Certainly, I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
Those are probably 7 to 8% moves.
That's right.
And when people look at their portfolios who have those flashbacks to that moment and say, I don't want to stick around to see how this plays out, how do you contextualize today for us?
You would also go back to some of those late 90s days, 97, 98. But as I was saying before, those were macro shocks. Those were credit markets throwing huge tantrums. Those were somehow some kind of fundamental mismatch in the economy. Right now, it's very hard to find what exactly the stock market's reacting to, except for its own weakness, and it's feeding upon itself right now. And of course, as we've been saying, the fact that after January, you had investors, big and small, very aggressively overexposed to stocks by a lot of different measures, and very bullish about the future.
And your eyes don't deceive you if you're joining us right now. That is the Dow Jones Industrial Average, down nearly 1,300 points. At the lows, we were briefly down 1,600 today. That's about a 5 to 6% move in the absolute. You have to, of course, add Friday's trading action to this. For all those people calling for a 10% correction, it could be that we're seeing one play out here in just a couple of trading sessions.
Let's bring in a couple of market pros Dom Chu, what do you have for us here?
I just want to kind of weigh in on some of the conversation that you guys have been having, because between Bob and Mike, they've hit on a number of hugely salient points in this market. One of the things to look towards, you heard both of them mention this idea of protection in the marketplace. One of the things that we're seeing in this market right now is the most liquidly traded exchange-traded fund out there, which is the SPDR S&P 500 ETF. It was maybe 5 or 10 minutes ago that I first looked at the trading volume. I've been up here on set for a while now. We had already traded about 155, 160 million shares of that exchange-traded fund. On a normal day over the last 30 days, we traded about 90 million, and even that's elevated over the last 30 to 60, 90 days or so. Another point that's being brought across by some of the traders out there is this downside move is being exacerbated by people looking for downside insurance. That is to say, if you were to buy downside insurance in this marketplace and somebody was to sell you that insurance, they would then need to turn around from their own perspective and short stocks, short the market in some way, shape, or form to hedge themselves against selling you that insurance to begin with. So much of that is playing out in terms of the trading volumes that we're seeing, and that might explain some of the reason why we are seeing a vast pickup in some of these exchange-traded funds that track bigger sector moves, like with these SPDR Utilities, SPDR's Technology, SPDR Financial ETFs. All of the big ones that trade on a very liquid basis are seeing much more trading action because there is a lot more derivative action also on the heels of that. That's certainly something that some traders are watching right now, guys.